We're here at the National Press Club Book Fair where we spoke with Congressman Steve Israel, author of The Global War on Morris. We talked about national security and the Syrian refugee crisis. Do you guys have a network set yet, or is that still in the works?
You know, it's interesting. I thought politics was ruthless until I got involved in publishing and the possibility of a TV series. That's pretty rough. So there are 9 networks that have actually expressed an interest in this. Rob Reiner's folks called me and said, "Hey, we've got 9 networks interested. We're going to pitch them on a specific date." I said, "Well, I can't be there. I have votes in Congress." They said, "Exactly. We'll take care of it. You just stand aside. We'll take care of it, and we'll let you know what happens."
Was the ethics committee process rough, or was it easy?
The ethics committee process was just incredibly detailed and very, very complex. We have very strict and arduous and necessary rules and regulations in terms of publishing a book, so you can't get in advance. Simon & Schuster was thrilled to hear that I couldn't get in advance, and everything that I do with respect to the book has to be approved by the ethics committee. It's a lot of work.
Now you get into some national security, even though this is a comedy book per se, you get into some issues with national security. How does what's in the book resonate with what's going on in national security today and the war on terrorism?
You know, whenever there is an attack, whether it's the attack on France, whether it's an attack on our country, whether it was attacks that occurred in decades and centuries past, we always involve ourselves in an immediate debate between civil liberties and national security. And that's what this book deals with in a satirical way. I try to explore those themes, but in an accessible and satirical way. So I think that this book is as relevant today as it ever has been, and will be relevant in the future. We have been debating the balance between national security and civil rights since the Alien and Sedition Acts in the 18th century. And that's what this book does, but in a way that I hope is accessible.
You mentioned the attack in Paris. Now we have this debate going on in Congress with the refugees. What would you like to see happen? Do you support the efforts to pause it, as Speaker Ryan wants to do, roll it back, the refugee program for Syria specifically?
You know, the first obligation of the government is to keep people safe, and we should take the time and the steps necessary to ensure that that program doesn't endanger the American people. But I also have to say this. I want to make sure that if there is a Syrian mother who's trying to protect her child from radical indoctrination or from torture by ISIS, we shouldn't just slam the door on that person. We should make common sense exceptions. And I really believe we're able to do both. We can keep ourselves safe, which is our first obligation, but at the same time make common sense exceptions on the basis of our humanitarian values.
I think it's possible somebody could slip through the cracks? Somebody who wants to do harm is affiliated with ISIS right now as the program stands?
Look, there is always the possibility in every country at every time that somebody's going to slip through the cracks. So you have to do everything possible in order to just protect yourself from that. And that's what I think our first obligation is.
I was on social media today. I saw a lot of buzz about this issue. Some people saying, hey, you know, we have issues with funding for schools. We have issues with homelessness, veterans, particular homelessness. Why are we bringing in so many people from other countries when we have so many problems here at home? How do you respond to those concerns from your constituents and other Americans?
You know, we have to have priorities. That's what government is. Government is about deciding who gets what, when. But at the same time, when you have a humanitarian crisis, it is in our national interest and, frankly, in our long-term economic interest to respond with humanitarian values, at the same time accentuating the safety and the protection of the American people. We've always managed to do both things, and we're going to have to do both things again. First and foremost is just keeping our citizens as safe as possible.
Congressman, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with your book.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Good to see you again.